Today on the Rector Show. What did you do after the very first seizure at your uncle's house?
Something happened in my mom's stomach.
And then once you had the surgery, what did they say? What was the prognosis?
That's when the spinal fluid gets up into your head, it leaks.
And who's the dream factory? Welcome to the Rector Show. I'm your host, Jessica Rector. Today we're talking with a person who has survived a tumor in his brain and living with seizures. And the beatboxing you heard at the beginning of the show, the introduction to the show, is my guest. Please welcome him, Dustin David. Thank you so much for joining us today. So tell us a little how All the Seizures began.
It started when I was at my uncle's house skating and I got too hot. And it was real weird. I didn't understand what was going on, so it was real scary.
And how old were you?
I was 12.
And how old are you now?
I'm 18.
Okay, and so how often did the seizures happen?
At first, they were pretty frequent, like 5 a week before we got on medicine. And after we got on the medicine, it was all right, kind of. We didn't stop them completely, but just partial seizures were good enough.
Now, was there any explanation to why the seizures first started happening?
Not for a while.
So they just came out of the blue to you?
Yes.
And what did you do after the very first seizure at your uncle's house?
They took me to the hospital, and I stayed there for a while. They did some tests, I think. I don't remember. Yeah, okay. And
what did they find out? Not much, obviously, because you still went on medication, right?
Yeah, not much there. Not until afterwards when we went to see real neurologists. And
so how long were you actually having seizures? What period of time before you decided, or your family decided, okay, enough's enough, we need to go see someone else?
About 5 years.
5 years. So did the seizures get progressively worse? Did they stay the same?
Well, over time, they were about the same for a while, and we tried different medications. After we found the right medication, it was okay. I never stopped having partial seizures, though, not for a while.
So what's the difference between a partial seizure and a full-blown seizure?
A grand mal seizure is with the shaking and your eyes get dilated and the drooling and stuff. It's really gross.
And what's a partial seizure?
A partial seizure is just kind of just when it gets irritated, it makes my body feel real weird, it felt like it was on fire, and my skin was real sensitive to touch.
Whenever you were having a partial seizure?
Yes.
Could you tell that it was about to happen before you could actually feel like your skin getting sensitive or anything?
No, it just happened.
It would just happen. Did they ever happen at school?
Yes.
And what would happen? Were your teachers informed?
They really didn't know about it at first, so all I could tell them is, we didn't even know what it was, so I could just tell them something's wrong. That's all I could do then.
So whenever you went to the doctors here in your hometown, what would they say? What was their reason for you having seizures? Because you were 12 years old, you didn't have seizures before 12. What explanation did they give you?
They told me that there was just an abnormal growth in there. And real small. But I don't know what caused it.
And they didn't do any further investigation into this abnormal growth?
Not at that time, not until later on when we decided to go to a professional neurologist.
And why did it take 5 years for you to decide to go to a professional neurologist?
Well, I got a new mom, and she decided to take it a step farther, which is real cool.
And so what happened when she decided that? What did she do?
She scheduled appointments at Le Bonheurs Medical Hospital in Tennessee, and we went there and they did some tests. They hooked me up to a wall.
A wall?
Yeah.
What does that entail?
They put like a whole bunch of little electrodes on my head so they could monitor my brain waves. So if I had a seizure there, they'd know exactly where it was coming from.
How long did it actually take you to have a seizure there?
I think I was there for a week with those. And they had me on a monitor so I could see my brain waves as I was doing.
That's pretty weird.
And they had to turn it off because I kept playing with it.
Yeah, how did you play with it?
Like if I gritted my teeth real hard or if I raised up my eyebrow, it'd move it and make it.
So they couldn't read it accurately?
Yeah, they just turned it off, I think.
That's funny. You're just having a little fun, huh?
Yeah, I can make a checkerboard and everything.
You can make a checkerboard with the monitoring? How did you do that?
It just like grit my teeth on and off real fast.
That is funny.
I figured the whole thing out.
You're too smart for the system, huh? And so how long did it take them to find out that you had a tumor?
After they took me off my medicine slowly while I was there to make me have a partial seizure. And after the first seizure, they knew exactly what it was. So, yeah, not long at all.
So let's back up a minute. So the medicine that you were on before you went to Tennessee allowed you to go from having full seizures to partial seizures. Was there not medicine that would make the seizures stop?
We couldn't find any. We were on...
How much medicine, how many different kinds of medication were you on?
Let's see, I was on, I think like 5. Keppra, Lamictal, Trileptal, and Topamax, 4.
And did you take those daily?
Yes, twice a day.
And so you even took them even if you weren't having a seizure?
Mm-hmm. They were to keep me from having grand moles. I had to keep the medicine in my system.
And if you didn't, how long would it take you to actually have a grand mal?
If I missed one dose of medicine, then yeah, it wouldn't work out.
It would be that fast that if you missed one dose, you would have one that, like if you missed it at night, you would have one that night?
Not probably the next morning.
Wow.
But we stopped the grand moles once I was on medication.
So whenever you were initially not on medication, did you ever have seizures when you were sleeping? Or something where it could really be dangerous? I mean, granted, seizures are dangerous, period, but extremely dangerous like that where someone else may not be aware?
I don't think I ever had one sleeping.
Okay.
The only grand moles that I know of is at my uncle's and at the hospital.
So what caused you to have seizures?
I had a brain tumor, and they said that something happened in my mom's stomach whenever we got to Le Bonheurs, and it caused an abnormal growth, is what they said, I think.
Is that what the people in Tulsa said or the people in Tennessee said?
In Tennessee, that's what they told us.
Okay.
And they said it was a benign tumor, and we had the option to have brain surgery, so we took that option.
And what were the risks for you to have brain surgery? Besides someone cutting into your head, besides the obvious. I mean, what did they say could possibly, what were the downsides, possibly?
They said I could lose motor skills and things because the brain tumor was in my right temporal, my right frontal lobe.
And so how does that affect a person?
That part of your brain is where, you know, it holds memory and motor skills. So, yeah, if they could have cut in the wrong spot, then it would have messed me up pretty bad.
So, was it affecting you in that way before you had surgery?
No, I didn't have any problems other than seizures.
And what was their explanation for that? That was the only outcome of the tumor was seizures? I mean, because it could have been a lot more.
Yeah. I don't know. That's just the only problem.
So how many days, once you were in Tennessee, how many days did it take them to discover you had a tumor?
A week.
A week. Okay, and then how long was the procedure of surgery?
I think it was like 5 hours. I'm not positive.
And then once you had the surgery, what did they say? What was the prognosis?